Hey everybody, it's Mr. Regner, and I've got a quick little demo here on some things with inequalities. There's been a few questions on this, and thanks specifically for JL, who has asked me to put this video together. Thought I would just share it with everybody. So first off, we'll kind of start with some basics here on my clipboard. We're just comparing some numbers. So if we have two numbers that we're comparing, whether they're rational numbers, whether they are fractions, decimals, or whole numbers, we can compare them. We're just looking to see which one's bigger, and we use our inequality symbols for that. So first I have 8 compared to 7. So we know 8 is going to be the bigger number, so we would use that symbol, which is our greater than sign. So we would read that as 8 is greater than 7. Next, I've thrown in some decimals here. So I have 3 and 2/100ths compared to 3 and 2/10ths. So this is one where place value really is important, because we know 3 and 2/10ths is bigger than 3 and 2/100ths. So I'm going to draw my symbol that looks like this, and we would read that as 3 and 2/100ths is less than 3 and 2/10ths. Now I'm mixing in some fractions. So I have 1/4 and 1/8. Just think about this like a pizza. Would you rather eat 1/4 of that pizza or 1/8 of that pizza? 1/4 is going to be the bigger amount. So again, I can put my symbol there saying 1/4 is greater than 1/8. Now I just threw this one in here just for fun. You won't really see anything like this in our chapter 8 questions, but it says 3/4 and 6/8. 3/4, if we just double that, that would be 6/8. So it's the same thing. So I wouldn't really say this is an inequality symbol. It's just an equal sign. But we are familiar with that equal sign from our work before. So this is really quickly how we can compare numbers using inequalities. Next up, this is so high-tech here, by the way, I've got a little demo here on graphing inequalities. So when we're graphing things, we've already worked out a solution. So we know x, in this case, is greater than or equal to 90. So when I'm graphing in Big Ideas Online, it gives me that graph. And it's usually a long graph, and I just put in the dot, whether it's an open or closed circle, in the right spot. If I'm graphing here on paper, I'm just going to go ahead and make my number line. And I know that 90 is going to be a big part of it right in the middle. To the right of that is going to be the next number up, 91. And to the left of that is going to be the next number down, and that's 89. So I have 89, 90, and 91. Now we can see that this would go on and on forever to the right and on forever to the left. But just with those 3 points, we get a sense of those number lines, and our arrows here kind of indicate that line goes on and on forever. So I know that x is going to be bigger than 90. So it's going to include 91 for sure and everything beyond it. In fact, if you look at this, since I have my variable here on the left side, I'm actually creating a little arrow point there that looks like it's pointing in that direction. You can sort of see that arrow point right here if I kind of make that a little bolder. So I know it's got to be going that way. So that's one thing I need to be aware of. The second thing is, should I have an opened circle or a closed circle on 90? Since this is x is greater than or equal to 90, it's going to include 90. So it makes sense that my line would go through 91. It makes sense that it would go up to 90, but it's also going to include 90. So I show that with a closed circle on 90. Okay, let me just throw another one really quickly out here for you. I'll say x is, let's say, less than or equal to 7. So again, if I just make my graph really quickly, I have 7 in the middle, 8 to the right, 6 to the left. Since that arrow point is pointing that direction, I know x is going to be less than 7, but it's going to include 7. So I have a closed circle on 7, and that arrow goes that direction. Let me try it this time without the or equals to. And this time we'll say x is, let's say, greater than 10. So really quickly, drawing my graph, I have 10 on one side. Oops, that's an 11, and that's a 9. But I'm getting kind of small with my writing, so I hope that works out for you. Here, we're not going to include 10. It's not or equals to 10. All right, so x is going to be greater than 10, so I still have my arrow pointing that direction. But now it doesn't include 10, so I use an open circle on 10, and my arrow goes beyond. So the open circle doesn't include that underline there, under the or equals to. The closed circle always has the underline or the or equal to symbol. So that's really quickly how we would graph inequalities. So now on to the big stuff. This is what we're getting into this week with chapter 8.8. It's the final section of chapter 8. And this time now we are solving inequalities. And so I've actually taken a question right from one of your assignments. This is question 3 on the 8.8 assignment, the review questions and big ideas online. So if you just follow along, you're guaranteed to get this one correct, hopefully, on your assignment. So first, we are given this whole thing. We look at that and think, what are we looking at? I want you to imagine for a moment that this symbol right here is just an equal sign. How would we solve that if that was just an equation? 18 equals 12 plus x. I'm hearing you all through the computer right now, and I hear your voices getting a little high-pitched. You're saying, inverse operations. It's been such a long time since we've done that together, so I'm glad we got that chance today. Now, put that symbol back. It does say greater than. 18 is greater than 12 plus x. No worries, though. We'll just solve this the same way using our inverse operations. So I'm going to do that right now by getting rid of this 12. I don't want that 12. I want x alone. How do I get you alone? Remember that. So I'm going to subtract 12, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, the 12s cancel out. I'm left with just the x over here. My symbol in the middle doesn't change. And then I have 18 minus 12, which is 6. So I have 6 is greater than x. Now, I always like to put our variable on the left side. That helps me with my arrow point. All right, so if I switch these around, if I put x over here and 6 over here, that symbol has to switch as well. So it's no longer 6 is greater than x. Now I'm saying x is less than 6. Okay, and then to graph this out, let me go ahead and make my graph. 6 is here in the middle. Then I have 7 and 5 around it. So I have 5, 6, 7. That makes sense. If x is less than 6, that symbol right here, that less than sign, looks like the tip of my arrow. And again, that only works if your variable's already on the left side. That's one of the reasons I switched it. So if that's true, and then it doesn't have my underline, so it's saying x is less than 6, not equal to, I'm going to have an open circle on 6, and my line goes this direction. Now it looks a little bit different here on my paper than it will on your screen. Remember, on the computer, you're going to select whether it's the open circle or the closed circle, and then which direction that arrow goes. Same principle, though. So if you need to work it out on paper, I would encourage you to do that, and then you can just transfer your answers over to the on-screen computer. Just a reminder for you, if you have any questions over anything that we are covering here in Chapter 8, please let me know. As we move forward this week, we will have a quick review assignment that covers all of Chapter 8. So we're going to be practicing using our skills trainer in Big Ideas Online, and then we get a chance to move into Chapter 9 at the end of our week. So this is Mr. Regner saying, have a great day. I hope your day is greater than yesterday. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.